We're ready.
We're ready.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to technical difficulties, but another episode of your favorite podcast. Woo, woo, woo! Yeah.
Oh, sing it, Griffin.
It's the singing mic.
I like it.
It's the singing mic. I always offer it to the guests.
Woo, woo, woo! Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin.
That's all you
Is
got.
that good? Oh.
You can keep going.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Casey and JoJo. Ooh, yeah. Just riffing with Griffin. That's what I do in the streets of Century City. You know how I'm not a rapper. I'm sorry. I tried. My bad.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I tried.
it's not always good. But today we got the very funny Mr. Micheal Yo.
Woo! I love it. Woo, woo, woo. Woo, woo, woo. Who made your music?
This great man, this guy from Detective Design. Anyway, we did it.
No, that's great. Can I take these off now?
Yeah, you can take them off.
Okay,
we can take them off.
First, before we even start the podcast, can I say I've never seen somebody so stressed out.
I know. It's just
before a podcast starts.
You can put them down there.
Okay.
It's just because every time, you got it all set up and every time it's ready to go, I think I got it done. And then the person comes in the room and then the mic goes out. The monitoring doesn't work. The sound, and I'm like, what? Because I'm over here by myself. I complain about it all the time. But
you had 3 things go wrong as soon as I sat down.
I know, but it's all taken care of now. Maybe this is good energy for a podcast. And anytime you need a singing mic, you can go to it. To the singing mic. Of course, I got my candles and all that. But anyways,
now,
wait. Let me get you on.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. Who I met at the light skin meetings. The very funny Mr. Micheal Yo.
Yes, this is our fraternity, light skin.
So there we are. Welcome to the podcast. What do you got to say?
You know what? I feel that I'm jealous of you.
Why is that?
Because I love your career. Can I be? No, I'm being serious. I love that you're in movies. I love that you do stand up.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you're doing the whole acting thing. You've been doing the acting thing. I love that, and that's the next level I'm trying to crack because I came from entertainment news.
Right.
I worked for E, Extra, anything with an E.
Yeah.
I worked in it. You know what I mean? So now it's kind of like I'm shedding that skin. And now I'm evolving as a comic, and I love now I want to move into the acting game.
You know what?
And I look up that you're in a lot of different things.
I appreciate you saying that, but the grass is always greener on the other side. What I'm finding is the entertainment business has changed so drastically in the last 5 or 6 years. I think this is the first time, this is the first time that just being a comic is a viable thing that and also super lucrative. You're talking about some of the best in the game, like Bill Burr and these kind of people. He even though he does some acting roles, he's a comic. He's selling out 4,000 seaters, and it's a comic, and it's and it's okay. It's on the same par as these other things.
Well, what's interesting is my job for all these entertainment outlets was to interview celebrities on set.
Yeah.
I would go to the set, and I remember when Modern Family was at its biggest, everybody thought it was the funniest show.
Still funny.
It's still great. And I went on set, and it was Julie Bowen and Ty Burrell, and they would go, "Oh my God, we heard you do stand-up comedy. How do you look? How do you do that?" So even the biggest actors,
I know,
they respect comedians so much because it's the one thing they can't do.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So I would venture to say that when you were doing your thing, you were always a funny guy, and then it kind of was in the ether of maybe I could go into stand-up comedy. You know?
I never thought about going into stand-up.
But you did though.
I did though. Yeah.
It is true. You were at a point where now let me ask you this. The reason you went up into stand-up comedy, wasn't it a lot of it somebody said to you, you can make a lot of money. You can you can take your fans and you can sell out theaters and things like that.
That had nothing to do with it.
Okay,
it was a dare. It was a dare.
Okay.
So I was on Chelsea Lately, but I was the reporter on Chelsea lately. So they would have 3 comics and then me. So Chelsea made fun of me because I was the celebrity kiss ass. So I had to tell facts about the celebrity. They couldn't all bash the celebrity.
Right.
So they would say mean things about the celebrity, and I would come in, well, they did sell $50 million worth of it. And then everybody would make fun of me. That was my role. So then after 3 years, everywhere I flew, people go, why don't you do stand-up? And then I tweeted the night before I was on Chelsea, hey, I think I'm going to try the stand-up thing.
Right.
Because Joe Coy was the one that was like, dude, you need to do it. You got a great story. Because me and him always used to riff back and forth.
Yeah.
So Chelsea challenged me on it the next day. She goes, you think it's easy to do stand-up? I go, well, I'm sitting here at this table. It doesn't look too hard.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
All the comics
all the Chelsea people.
So all the comics got mad. Play mad. And then I tried it for the first time in Miami at the old Miami Improv.
Yeah.
And did 15 minutes. But I was just telling family stories.
Right.
And literally, it was the first time ever I walked off stage, called my mom, and go, this is what I was born to do. Like, I never knew I could love something so much.
Okay, well, that's cool. All right, so, but like I'm saying, though, there is still a part of it, the business part of it is like, look, I got all these fans from radio, from E, and it's like, this will translate over very nicely.
Well, yes, because the first time I had a Miami radio show, a big Miami radio, and I sold out the first.
That's what I'm saying.
My first show ever, that practice show, it sold out because I had such a big show on the radio.
No, that's exactly what, so what I'm saying is,
so I saw the potential.
So what I'm saying is you brought the audience before you brought the talent.
100%.
100%. So what I'm saying though is that stand-up, I believe, for a short time now, I say in the last 10 years, in a 10-year span here, people have seen that like, oh wow, if you have fans, a great way to reach your fans is a live performance.
Yeah,
and people come see you live. So people were doing stand-up, but you got people like Dustin Diamond and like Mike McDonald from Mad TV. Like he started doing stand-up really late in his life and career. And I did a show with him. This is why I know this. And like people are screaming, Stuart! They want him to do the characters, and he didn't want to do it because he wanted to do his stand-up. But the place was sold out. It was packed. But now what I'm saying is the reason how the business has changed now is like now people are doing this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's funny that you're saying you want to get into what you think I'm doing that's like, and I'm saying to you, it's like, no, what's happening now is people are now going into what you started in.
Yeah, it's true. I remember the biggest mistake I made was, and this is the ego in me 11 years ago, Chris Hardwick. I did a show. Basically, I got hired at E. And
another guy trying to do stand-up.
Yeah, trying to do stand-up. But this is the biggest mistake I made. They made me a studio across from Ryan Seacrest. So literally seeing Ryan Seacrest every day, it made me believe I can do what he's doing too.
Right.
But Chris Hardwick at the time goes, hey man, you want to be a part of my podcast? And I go, podcast? I'm on real radio. I don't need it. Like in my head, that's how it was. It was just starting. And he goes, no, you should. I'll help you start your own podcast. And I was like, nah, I'm doing real radio. I do real radio. I don't podcast.
Yeah.
What, like 5 people listen to? And he was like, dude, I'm telling you, it's going to be big. I was like, dude, get out of here. And that is I wish I would have started podcasting 11 years ago. And I wish.
You'd be on 1,000 episodes.
I'd be like 3,000.
And the thing about it too is it'd be your thing.
I did Rogan not too long ago, and I called you for advice when I did Rogan.
And look at you now. After, you know what's so funny? Well, I don't hate to cut you off, but because I think we have the same journey.
Absolutely,
we have the same journey. It's like I've been trying to start a podcast. I've been talking about it. I see all my friends are making all this money, but I go, I don't know if that's. And then I go on Rogan, okay. And then after Rogan, I was on Rogan, say on a Wednesday, and I was at the Irvine Improv that weekend. The first time ever, I got like bonuses and like the place was like jam-packed from the front to the back, and I was like, it clicked. I need to start a podcast.
I remember walking into Rogan, because you've been there, so you see the complex, and it's a complex.
You got a compound.
So a compound. So I remember driving up, and I go, which door do I go in? Which one is his? And all the doors are his. Yeah. Every door in that building is his.
The whole thing.
So I walked in, and I go, it hit me right there because I'm like you. I know the Brendan Schaubs, the Theo Vons, I know everybody, but until you walk in to an empire, and you can even know the money Rogan makes, but it's kind of that thing. I compare it to me and Ryan Seacrest. When I lived in Miami, I never thought I could be on TV till I was right across the hallway from him and saw him every day. And then I go, I can do that too.
Right.
It makes you believe when you're actually there. So when I saw what he built from podcasting, I go, okay. Literally 2 weeks later, my podcast was up and running. So we had the same experience.
I get it. But also, I don't want to diminish it either and say that it's just, for one, it's not just about money. It's not that. It's about like the engagement you have with your fans, how you are now one away from your fans to something that you're doing. This is my personality. I'm speaking to my people and the people that want to watch me. It's not filtered through like, well, you have to, the demographics, and you have to worry about all this bullshit about commercials and like, the marketing. And no, it's like, I am speaking to right now Erik Griffin fans,
and that's what's but that's what's true. Like I remember when I was on Rogan after Rogan, he said, because I used to have the Micheal Yo show on another platform, and he goes, "Why are you letting somebody else own your content?" He goes, "You should own your own content." He goes, and he said, "Don't think about the millions of people that other people have listening." He says, just find your people. And he goes, if it's 2 people, if it's 200,000 people, if it's millions, guess what? Those are your people. And they will support you through thick and thin. They're the ones that come out to the shows.
And you know what's funny too, is I realized this too, is like, it's okay. Let me just backtrack. So you had Blockbuster Video, right? Okay, so Blockbuster Video was like getting everybody's movies, and then this streaming platform, Netflix, decided, they go, hey, you know what? We can just do it like this. You don't need Blockbuster Video. And then everybody was giving them content. And then now people are like, the people that make the content are like, wait, why are we letting Netflix show our stuff? And now they're like, we're going to have our own app. We're going to have our own thing. So then the entertainment business is expanding that way, right? It's the same thing with us now. Like, you know what? I'm thinking about like, I'm putting my own stand-up clips on the internet.
Oh yeah.
Like why? Like Andrew Schultz has shown us a new way of doing things too. Like it's like, why are my clips on, no offense to whatever comedy club, why am I on that comedy club's website and they're putting it on YouTube? They're generating the monetization for YouTube, and it's like, hold on. That's my shit.
Oh no, and you see, clubs are way smarter than the comics. A long time ago,
obviously,
because clubs. I mean, since Dave Chappelle, they have Dave Chappelle clips that are running, and all these big comics that break. They got their clips. Yeah. You shoot it in their club. You do now. It's great to see comics are stepping up and going, hey, if I don't want you to tape, you can't tape.
Right.
Where before they would just tape. You know what I mean? So now they're not owning the content as much, but it's kind of like you said, we're putting the content on our own platform. And compared to you, I'm new to the stand-up game, but I caught the tail end when, like the Comedy Store wasn't crowded and comedians were like, oh, they were cool. But now it's like, oh, what's great about it is you own everything from your stand-up to your podcast.
Yeah.
You kind of have to, for me in this town, to stay just positive, you're going to hear a lot of no's. Every casting you go to is pretty much 90% is no's.
Most of the entertainment is
Most of it is no's. But when you control your own content from stand-up to podcasting, and when those people watch right now and go, oh, I love this podcast, that's your people. Yeah. And that's a yes. Even I think it's an outlet when you get that no, you get a bunch of no's in casting, but you can go to a club, rock it in front of 400 people and get 400 yeses for being yourself. That's what's great to me about stand-up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, but I think that what I love about it now is just seeing how stand-up has turned into, like I said, it's turned into like on par with, it's like acting, stand-up.
100%.
Because when I came up, stand-up was a means to an end, That's how it was.
How long have you done it?
I've been doing it since 2003, but just even from knowing about it back then is what I'm saying. It's like, it was all like you did stand up so you could get on a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after that, you're off and running. But now, like I'm saying, it's like, like I was in San Diego this past weekend at the La Jolla Comedy Store. And like,
love that place.
And Chris D'Elia was doing theater gigs in San Diego at the same time, And when I went to go hang out with him afterwards, and I was like, oh, look at this guy. Like, I remember when he was coming up, and I'm like, but now it's like, this is a viable, like on par with whatever movie someone's going to do. These comics are out here now paving a way. And it all stems from, in my opinion, the internet, like the social influence, because like, now this is a thing, like it's everybody's got their little empire, and you can find an audience because,
What's crazy is like D'Elia is such a good dude, but it's like he treats it like
he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. He's always been great to me.
Mr. Positive.
Please take me out on the road.
Until he comes on my podcast, he a piece of shit.
That's right. So the thing is, though, it's kind of like that thing where, you got to approach social media now. It's a job.
Yeah, it is.
Like D'Elia thinks about, like I've talked to, I remember it was one of those awkward situations where he sat right next to me on a plane ride from New York to LA, and we were friends, but you're like, oh, do I have to talk to this guy the whole time? Yeah. And I know we both were thinking it, but he
told me about that trip.
Yeah, right. But we got so deep into where he really puts a lot of thought into what he's doing, even though it looks like he's not. And I think that's the brilliance of social media. Oh, for sure.
Like he was like on the ground floor of like Vine and Snapchat.
Yeah.
And he was using it as a tool, and he's just a dynamic personality. You know what I mean?
It's just like, for me, I haven't found out what's my thing.
No, I think you have found out what your thing is. I think you're translating your persona, because even right now I find you to be like in a mode right now.
Yeah.
Like I even feel like right now you're in Micheal Yo mode, even your voice, your inflection and things like that. And it's like, I think you've always have known how to like sell yourself.
Yeah.
I think you've always known how to like, but tell me this, like, when you to go from an area of like that has fans and is out there, and then when you switched over to stand up, did you feel pressure? Did you feel guilt? Did you feel anything like it's like, oh, I didn't come up like everybody else?
Well, Chelsea,
did you feel hate from people and stuff like that?
Well, here's the thing. You know me, I'm a positive person. So I will say this. I remember when Chelsea heard that, I was doing solid and saying, and this is only like my first 6 months. She's like, okay, it looks like you're going to be doing this. She goes, be in the clubs. Make sure comics see you. Don't be that guy that just shows up. Now, in hindsight, I wish I was a lot better when those crowds, because I was selling out places. Because back then, if you were on Chelsea Lately, regular, you were selling out everywhere.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
You were selling out everywhere. And I started comedy like 2 years in, they started having me tour. But I would bring like 5 comics. I brought like Brent Moore and Jason.
Yeah.
So I would bring 5 comics, put myself in the middle. So I was smart about that and not trying to headline it. So I would just do it to work out time. And we called it the Hot Mess Comedy Tour. So I was always helping and bringing comics with me because I didn't have the time. So I always showed love.
So that was your way. Okay.
Now, there was one comic that hated on me. And I'm friends with them now, and they don't even know I know. It's one of those things. And like, basically, I was only 4 months in. MTV was going to do a reality show about comics that are just trying to break in. So they came out to shoot me at the Brea Improv, the old Brea Improv. And this person was shit talking me in front of my friend, and they didn't realize
that was your friend.
That was my good friend. And we're cool today, but I know what he said, and he has no idea. I know what he said.
Oh, wow.
And it was the first time I've ever got hated on just for trying to
Or maybe the first time you heard about it.
Yeah. For trying to do something that other people were doing.
I can remember people hating on you.
Really?
If I could think back to the time, because it's one of these things where it's like, first of all, there's no right or wrong way, and I'm not saying it's right, because I had Angela Johnson on, and she discussed the same kind of thing. It was like, she went from rags to riches. It was it was like this bit, and then they were like, we need you to headline, and she was like, okay, I'll do it, but she never did she wasn't a part of the brotherhood.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like, I'm not part of the brotherhood because where
I think you're more part of it now.
I am, but I'm not in the club. Like, my thing is, like, a person, like, I don't know your backstory, but I imagine you hung out at the Comedy Store. You met a lot of people. Yeah. Like, I came in 2 years, 3 years in, then I was married, or like 4 or 5 years in, I was doing it, but I never had to hang out in clubs because I was already touring.
Right, exactly.
So I didn't develop. The only people I really know are the comics that left.
I know, I get you. I totally get this. And listen, I don't feel bad about this.
I don't feel bad.
Yeah, because you skipped it's like people think, oh, you skipped a step.
Oh, 100% I skipped a step. But I feel that I also did more. I skipped a step, 100%. But I worked on other things.
Yeah. Which you brought to this.
To be in a position to skip that step.
Well, and it's like oh man, I'm not mad at it. I'm seeing it more now because of, like I said, doing podcasts. Look, I was on Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive, and everybody was, half the people were like, "Why are you going on that podcast?" It's like, whatever, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like the dude, the kid's he did what he did. He's a dumb kid, and he figured it out, and he figured it out.
Yeah,
we're allowed to make mistakes,
and he's still monetizing.
yeah, exactly. He's still like in the tops on YouTube, But anyways, 5 years ago, I was in a movie of his. I think it was like almost 5 years ago. At the time, he was so intense about like how you're talking about, like, I want to get on TV, I want to do movies, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it was like, now he could care less.
Yeah.
Because all those guys, all those influencers, only King Batch is the only one that's like, I want to be, because he was classically trained. He went to acting school. So he always he just figured a lane. But what I'm saying is, like, what we think we want to do, like, whatever our motivation is, like, this social media and being an influencer and YouTube and these things, like, that's actually an end game now.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
It's a thing where it's a monster. These kids, like, they got an 8-year-old making $22 million a year on YouTube by opening up
I
shit.
know, it's crazy.
It's like ridiculous.
You know what's funny about that too, though, is that when you look at the top, say you Google the top 10, top 25 highest paid YouTube people, none of them do podcasts.
They don't have to.
I know, no. What I'm saying though is, like, that's how lucrative YouTube is. Because I'm saying is, like, we have the same friends who we know are making they're crushing it in life, on podcasting and you know, and they're not even sniffing the $15-20 million that these people are making. You don't even know. It's like, so it's the wild, wild west. It's great.
It is. It's open.
It's direct to consumer.
It's open season. It's just take advantage of the situation. But my thing is, it's just owning everything you do. You know, and we talk about that.
So why you want to get into acting and film and all that?
Well, because I want to learn. I'm always open to learning. Like, I want to learn that, because if it's kind of like comedy. Once you learn something, and I love stand-up comedy, but once you learn something, then you could, okay, now I know how to act. I can produce my own movie, or I can do this. Right now, I know nothing about, like, directing. That, like, I want to learn that craft too. Because, you know, you never know how you fall into things. It's like comedy. I didn't know I was going to fall into it like I was. But once I got in it, I became a nerd. Like, after shows, I talk 4 or 5 hours about, like,
you call me all the time about, like, hey, tell me about this, you know.
I love it so much,
you
know. So it's a thing where I'm in it, you know, and I feel that I skipped a step, but I put my heart and soul into it.
Yeah, for sure.
And to bring that to a level where, you know, I feel comfortable going on or before anybody.
But
no.
By the way, that's an unnecessary step. It's just a step that we're saying in terms of, like, if you wanted to be a part of, like, this like brotherhood of people who mostly aren't making it.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the sad part about it, is it's like.
But I tell you, it does hurt you, because I'm not going to lie to you, and this is such a Hollywood thing, but I was talking to my agent, and I was going, you know what? I perform with everybody, but I feel like I'm not considered a comedian to the industry. You know what I mean? Like, I perform with everybody. Like, I'm on every show with everybody.
Yeah.
But when it comes to certain TV shows where they're putting on a lot of comedians, like, I won't get asked to do those, even though, and this is no hate, even though I'm touring across the country, and a lot of these people that are on these shows haven't reached that level yet. It's just, I'm not considered, they're considered more of a comedian than I am, maybe because where they're playing, the Comedy Store, etc. And so my thing is, like, how do I
does it bother you?
It does. It does. Because I want to be respected by the comedians. Now, do I care? Here's what's interesting. Do I want to be respected? Yes. Do I care what other comedians think about me? No.
It's a weird thing.
It's a very weird thing. Like,
I think what you mean to say is, like, I don't care if people like me or not.
Yes.
But I do want the respect.
Yes. That I'm doing this.
Yes.
So that's like if a comic said, you know what, he sucks on stage, but I see him touring, I respect that. You know, but it's that weird thing where I'm not in that where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't even know what that is.
But it is something.
I get it. I feel like there are comedians. I think if you were talking to comedians, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I like Erik. He's funny," or whatever it is like that. But, like, what I'm seeing is, like, that don't translate to getting butts in the seats.
No, but see, you're looking at,
because I respect more about what you've done as a business person in comedy more so than, you know, the comedy. When you first got in, I'm saying, you know what I mean? So like for me, I'm like, I'm behind. I'm rethinking the whole thing. That's why I'm late to the party. I started a podcast. I'm late to the party. I was like, oh, this is how you do it. And so now, like, I don't think about these things anymore. Like we were talking about off air here is that, like I'm about to do some dates with Dane on his tour. He came on my podcast and we were talking about it. And I was like, yeah, I'll do some dates with you. You know what I mean? I want to do, and he was surprised. He was like, oh, I didn't think you'd want to do that. And I'm like, my thing is like, he's selling 5,000 tickets at some place. I'm barely filling a comedy club. So yeah, let me go do that. Let me go do this fun thing.
Can I tell you what's so crazy is you'll hear different people. Like, this is what I love about comedians too. You talk about it, you'll hear 20 different answers. And you'll talk to agents and go, well, you can't open for him. You're trying to be a headliner. And it's like, okay, guess what? If you don't open for people, then that club, like, I'm not talking about us, but I've taken out a lot of people that their management has been like, oh, you can't open for him because we're trying to get you to headliner status. Guess what? I'm bringing you to a club, and that owner may like your set and go, oh, I need to book you.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I actually disagree with you. 100%.
On what?
I disagree with you that that's it doesn't work like that,
I don't know. I've had several comics go out with me, and then they're regulars now, and Comedy Works and different places like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. But like there is something to be said about building your own way. Like I knew when I got into it, I didn't want to feature for people.
Okay.
I just didn't. I did it a couple times and I was like, nah, I don't want to do this. So I'd rather go out and start as like a low paying comic and get, but even when I look back on that, I don't even know if that was the right way.
See, my thing was I offer all the time to open for people. Because I'm just trying to reach everybody's fan base.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
If I can get 100 people, 200 people in every market.
It's a different, I get it.
It's a different, so when like for me, like where we may disagree, well, I don't mind opening for people, even though I'm a headliner. Now, I guess in the industry, I'm a headliner, but I don't like, for instance, Orny Adams is doing a show at Gotham. I happen to be in town. Now, they're not going to announce me or anything, but I'm going to go in and pop on 2 of his shows.
That's different.
Well, how's that different?
Especially in a city like that.
How's it different, though?
Because I just did that, too. I was in Boston. I was filming a movie in Boston. And, like, Amir K was at the Laughs. And I went. And I hopped on the show.
But you were opening.
Yeah, but it's not the same as like you're at the Comedy Works doing 6 shows and it says, whoever featuring Micheal Yo opening,
comedy
but they still have but they still have that on the thing. It's still there. What I'm trying to say though is like popping in as somebody's friend is not the same as like, open like even what I'm doing with Dane is not like we pre-discussed it and it was like, okay, I'm gonna be on the tour with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, would you do that? And I'm realizing now is like, oh, I should do that.
100% you should do that.
I was in Boston and Erik Andre was in town. Okay. He was doing a theater gig. You know what I mean? And like Erik Andre's show, it actually is very much like a podcast in a sense that it's very specific fans and they're rabid fans and they love him. So he's selling out this huge theater. And I hit him up on, hey man, I hear you're in town. He's like, come do some time. You know what I mean? And then like I went out on stage as a special guest, and that age group knows workaholics and all this. And they just went crazy. And I was like, oh, I love this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but why would you my thing is, why would you want to take that opportunity away?
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying though. So what I'm realizing right now, we're saying the same thing right now.
Okay. Because at the beginning you said you disagreed.
Because I disagree that when a manager says, hey, we don't want you to go open for someone because we're trying to get you a headliner on that particular level of like comedy clubs. I agree with that in some sense because when you are...
So you don't believe exposure in comedy club?
No. Is the exposure to who? The fans? No. The fans, yes. The comedy club people, once they think you're a feature, you're a feature.
See, okay.
Yeah, once the comedy club... If a comedy club's like, you're a feature, it's hard to break through. It's just like when you're when you're at a business. Let's say you're working a business, right? They hired you from within, right? Uh-huh. When it's time for promotions... They don't always...
Oh, I know that.
They don't always like to give people a promotion from within. They like to hire out.
Or if they do give the promotion, they're not going to pay you for the promotion.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I worked... Put it like this. I worked at a company when I first moved down here, and they paid me nothing. I left and did a couple other things. Then they gave me all the money when I went back.
You
have to leave.
My point. This is the point I'm saying, man. This is the point I'm saying is like sometimes I feel like because the comedy club. If I'm a comedy club owner, I want the best show possible, right? So if I could get a headliner and I could get a dude that like could be a headliner as the feature, that's a great show. You know, like my job is not to promote you. I could care less about your career. My job as a club owner is to fill seats and put on a good show.
See,
there's no relationship like that anymore. You really think that these clubs are out here like?
Yes,
they're not.
Certain ones.
They're not.
And I disagree. I say Wendy from Comedy Works is like that. Stephanie from Chicago Improv is like that.
Very few.
But there are out there.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Okay,
they
so
are out
two.
There. Huh? Well, I mean, I don't know all the. You're right. I don't know all the. But I don't know. I've just never had a problem featuring. Because
and by the way, those places you just mentioned, they're not. It's not like they're that person that they're bringing in. They're gonna pay a lot of money either.
Well, why would you pay a lot of money to a feature?
No, I'm talking about when that feature now becomes their headliner.
Yeah,
you think they're going like? No. Okay, but that's what I'm saying. So, but what we're finding out right now is you have to build that reputation and legacy outside of comedy.
Yeah. You know? Well, it's a lot faster if you can.
Well, you know what? That's how it's supposed to be now.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's what you did, and that's okay. You were like, all right, because the point is to get people to come watch you. And it's like you brought this audience from this other thing, and then you're respecting the craft by continuously working on it. You know what I mean?
Where I feel that I don't get mad at anybody, but I do feel people do cheat. Like, here's the thing: I skipped a step, but I don't feel like I cheated the system because I put in the work.
Right.
Where you'll have a YouTuber, and I'll see two comics open up for a YouTuber that do an hour, and then this YouTuber comes around and jumps around for like 15 minutes, even though the place is sold out.
And that's all they care about.
That's all the clubs care about. So a lot of them. So
that's my point.
Yeah, they just want butts and seats.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah. What I'm saying is they're not respecting comedy. I see. Like that club you're talking about that had this YouTuber open, sell the place out. Why aren't they going like, well, let me grab like some features that have been featuring at my club for so long and give them an opportunity because I don't sell tickets. That's why.
Yeah.
Like I had a situation like that. What was that dude? It's country something or other.
Oh yeah.
He was at JFL.
That's the one where Chris Red it just went off on.
All right, dude, I was in Huntsville, doing a show. And for some reason, they booked me at the 7 o'clock. They booked me at the 9 o'clock show. So he was doing the 7 o'clock show both nights, and I'm doing the 9 o'clock show.
Yep.
Nightmare. It's like, there was no like mutual respect. It was like the green room was full of people that I don't even know. It was like, I never had an opportunity to be like, is this my show at any time? He's running, he's doing a meet and greet on the show during the time that my show was supposed to start. People are outside waiting in the weather, because he's doing that. And then he had no like, hey, sorry about that. And there was no mutual respect, nothing.
Is this after he got yelled at?
No, this was before. This was before, man. He had no respect at all for the thing,
But you don't understand that unless you come up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's I think that's when comics mean when they think that it's a fine line where they think that maybe you need to struggle a little bit. You need to know what it's like. I don't agree with that, but there is something about respecting the craft and the comedy process.
I think if you're that dude, like I forgot his name, but the country guy you're talking. But I think for me, when I got in, since I know I skipped a step, I educated myself so much with comedy and the comedians and, the history of it. And it's a thing where, I go to shows all the time. Still today, I'll go to other people's shows and I hate the question, what are you doing here? You going up tonight? No, I'm just here watching. And they're like, okay. Like that's weird for people.
Yeah. This so-called brotherhood that's not supportive. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's full of shit,
Yeah.
And really now.
Do you feel like there's really no brotherhood or
no,
you just have good friends?
No. I feel like it's a process of like the army. And it's like, somebody that didn't have to go to boot camp, you're going to be like, you didn't even go to boot camp? Who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Like we want people to go through the things that went through.
The pain you went through.
The pain so we can understand. But what I'm realizing is if that's not necessary, it's not necessary.
Here's the thing: you can't force pain on people if they don't have to go through it.
Yeah, I know. It's just different time. It's just a different era. It's just different times. And it's funny because I feel from you how this bothers you.
Oh yeah,
I could tell that this really bothers you.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm thinking in my mind like, what could be done about it? And I guess it's just a matter of time.
Well, here's what can be done about it. When you start selling out arenas, then here's what's funny is, they're like the Sebastians, the Bill Burr, Joe Coy. I was sitting down with Joe Coy. Like, here's what I love about Joe Coy being my mentor. He was never accepted into the comedy brethren either, really. He just wasn't around anymore. He just took off. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, he wasn't getting. Me and him been close for 12 years.
Yeah,
he wasn't on those shows that all the comedians are on.
Yeah.
Back then, he wasn't part of. He was going through like, oh, he's funny, but he's not us. Like when I first got into stand up, and I'll never forget this. 11 years ago, me and Joe were very close. He's my mentor in comedy. And I was at the Improv and I was talking about, and when I would bring up Joe Coy, the first thing they would go is, oh, that dude sings at the end of his set. That's not real comedy. And I go, why are people, like, to me, he's one of the funniest people live you'll ever see. So why are people hating on him? Because he wasn't considered like
a comedian.
A comedian.
He was a comedian.
Yes. Yeah. And then I was backstage with one comedian. I'll never forget it. And this was 9 years ago. And I go, hey, you're going to go meet the people after? No, I want to keep being mysterious to the audience. And I was taking pictures with people, giving out cards. Yeah. And guess what? And no disrespect to him, but he's at the same place he was back then.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
See what I'm saying? Okay, you know what you see? This is what I'm talking about. The business has changed. The business had to change, even for the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
The reason why the comedy clubs will put a YouTuber in at 6 o'clock in the afternoon and to like do, 5 show, whatever it is because they got to sell tickets. They got to feed their families and that kind of stuff. So the business has changed. It's become a business where the clubs themselves aren't doing any marketing. They doing the minimal marketing because they want you to do all the marketing as the comic.
And also, I mean, you got to look on the opposite end too, because now the like the radio stations and the TV station, now you got to pay money to get on air on a lot of those places. So it's like the comedy clubs. Put it like this: if a comedy club is paying you $5,000 to $10,000 to comic, depending on ticket sales, they're like, we're already gonna pay this out. We're not going to spend another $3,000-$4,000 in radio advertisement.
Well, but then the business of comedy is like, not to be too inside because sometimes I hate this, but like it's like this though. I say to be a headliner, a true headliner changes the ticket price.
Yeah,
you could be a great comic and close the show, put on a great show. Headliners change the ticket price, so they're not losing any money. Okay, don't fool yourself.
Yeah,
because like if the ticket is regularly $20 and so comes in and the ticket's now $50,
yeah,
okay, they were surviving on the 20.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right.
That's how they paying this person. They giving them 30 and they still making the 20 and they're making even more because of it.
Yeah,
so that's why they have these door deals and they have all these different but all I'm saying is like the business is that's just.
But they
part of
don't
the
want
business.
to put the money in. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
Why should I?
They don't want to spend anything.
And for that comic you're talking about, they don't need to advertise that guy.
Right.
So, but I'm talking about like a person like me.
Yeah.
When I come in, depending on the market, I need advertising. I love press.
Yeah.
Like I'm from the mindset of I remember me and Joe Coy talking, and what comics fail to realize, they'll sell out all these shows. Joe still does all the press. We had this conversation where that's free money. Literally, if you sell out all your shows and you don't do the press, people pay money to be on TV. And this is not just $5,000. It could add up to $150,000, $200,000 if you're doing 4 or 5 TV shows. So by you selling out already and not doing the press and the radio, that means that's almost like you're just throwing free money out the window.
I totally get it. Like we're our own entity. And it's like, so now it's like, actually, what's great about it, if you think about the other side of it, is like now we could take charge actually even of our own advertisement. So because of the internet and all that, then we can fully take charge of it and be like, all right, I'm going to spend $1,500 in this market, for like Facebook ads and all this kind of stuff. algorithms and there's things that show that this stuff is helpful.
Oh,
now
100%.
everybody's putting their video clips up. I mean, everybody's out there now like, oh, let me reach people. You know, it's like it's such a simple thing. Like, we want to reach people, and what's the best way to reach people? It used to be radio, TV, newspaper, magazines, and now it literally is our phones. And
do you feel like after you
internet.
started your podcast that
it's a huge difference.
Big difference, right?
Oh yeah, I told you it was after that day. I was like, oh okay, I get it. And then now it's like things are happening that have never happened in my career. 13 years on TV.
And here's what's interesting.
And people never came to see me the way they come to see me now.
Here's what's crazy about TV is I've had friends on TV shows, successful TV shows, that doesn't affect their ticket sales at all. It has to be, for some reason, it has to be the right TV show.
No. You know why? Because they weren't doing any marketing. Because they weren't using the thing that people know them for, like you did. Mm-hmm. I'm on radio. I'm on E. I'm doing all this. Hey, all you guys over here, come check me out over here. See, the problem with those people that are on TV shows is they lazy as fuck.
Because they're making that money.
They're making money and they think like, well, I'm on TV. People should love me. No. Like you said about Joe, people still got to do the work.
Oh, yeah.
And even for myself, I realized I wasn't doing enough work to get people to come see me perform. Because people are always like, when they come see my show, they're like, oh man, I didn't know you were a stand-up. Or like, man, you're like, you're so different from your characters.
Wait a minute, so you still get that today?
Yes, man.
See, that's the biggest.
People don't know you're a stand-up until you're like a stand-up.
But what causes that? Oh, you're a stand-up now.
You know what? It could be anything. It could be like a special, like Ali Wong's special. Ali's been funny for years. Everyone thought she was funny. But like she got a platform that was like it popped and pow.
Well, let me ask you this.
You know,
and because
everybody needs that pow.
I've never met Ali, but let me ask, since we're talking about being in the brotherhood, was she in that brotherhood before she popped?
Oh yeah, Ali was around all the time doing.
But
shows
that doesn't being around.
No, she was doing shows. I'm saying
But was she considered because Joe was around too?
Yeah, but
like
Joe,
people.
Look, Joe's different. He got banned from the Laugh Factory for whatever he did. I mean, he's an out there personality.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like, look, I've had the pretentious comics who think that they know what comedy is supposed to be. Get on me. I'm on stage. I'm lively. I do characters. I'll do sound effects. I get people bitching at me about that.
Really?
Oh, I got dudes at the Comedy Store talking mad shit about me when I was coming up. Like, he's doing sound effects. It's like, fuck you. You mean I'm using my talents to my best of my ability? You can't do what I do.
And now the biggest comedians that are out have a lot of movement and are big.
Or they just have that's just part of my thing.
It's part of you.
It's me.
And that's the thing, man. It's like you got to be you. And this is what I love. And I've only been doing it like 9 years, hardcore. So this is what I love. The change I've seen is it's gone from you got to just stand there and tell jokes to now it's more storytelling. To now, like you can really get people invested in you.
I don't think that's ever changed, man. I think it's always
it's more
been
acceptable.
Like that. No, I think it's always been acceptable. The thing is just people just aren't good enough. Listen.
Well, then a lot of people have gotten a lot better at storytelling.
That's all it is. Look.
Maybe
man,
it's more emphasis on it now.
I just think that it just depends on who you're looking at or what comic you're looking like. If you look at a bunch of specials, you'll see a lot of different things. Not everybody can be great at stand-up comedy. Also, to take it to the next step, not everybody can be great at a taping of stand-up comedy.
That's what's so interesting is some people crush live, but it doesn't
translate
to on tape. And what happens? See, that's what's so funny to me.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, what happens?
Not everybody's photogenic.
Yeah.
Not everybody pops on screen. There's something about that. You ever seen like a model who like I'm talking about on camera, just pops, the angles, whatever. And they don't look like that necessarily.
Literally, they could take the photo, you look at the photo and go, wow, look at them and go, huh. Like, it's not like, I know
not everybody has that.
Yeah.
And then there's other thing of like, like there's a certain vernacular that works. There's a certain like, there's a certain body language. There's a certain like connection. And there's a certain like thing about the material, being invested in the material or like how the people deliver it. I mean, there's no right or wrong way. I'm just saying is not everybody has found the thing that clicks and works.
But I feel like now people accept everything where when I first started just 9 years ago, they didn't. Like they weren't open to it. They were not open
Open to what? In what way?
Open to storytelling.
You mean like your storytelling?
No.
Or just storytelling in general?
Well, people didn't know if I was good or not at stand up. I'm talking about like comedians I liked, and like my main thing is Joe. Like comics did not respect Joe Coy at all. Well, like the ones, at least the ones I talked to.
No, I totally get it.
Because they were like, oh, he's too character, he sings. Comics don't do that. They stand there and tell jokes. Like even the rhythm of jokes. Like at least in my personal experience watching comedy for 9 years, it's gone from, because the big thing was like boom boom, like a joke, like 50 jokes in a minute, like that.
I've never seen that, so I disagree with you. But go ahead.
I see it all the time.
No, I get it. But what I'm saying is because there's so many comics. Yeah. But the ones that break through, they're not those comics.
That's what I'm saying.
So what I'm meaning to say is they've always been here.
Yeah.
It's just, I get what you're saying though. There's like, but there's no right or wrong way. You got a guy like Seinfeld. Seinfeld's he's oh, wait.
Did we go off?
No. This is what I'm saying. Stay right here.
What happened?
I'm about to cut into it right here. I just want to make sure what the fuck just happened. No. Okay. It doesn't have to do with the podcast. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Something came on the screen and that's what it is. I'll be like,
I was like, what just happened?
We're doing good. I might just leave that in too, guys, just so you can
see.
I
was like, what just happened over there?
No, because I'm looking at whatever.
Is this podcast too industry?
It might be. No, it's okay. We just have no. See, this is what I'm trying to say. This is just like stand up. We're having an authentic conversation where we're just talking about it. Like we don't have to worry about like we're discovering these different things. We're having a counterpoint about what we think is And I'm just telling you that I just think that people just aren't good enough. I say
storytelling.
I say that about myself. Yeah. Even for myself, like I haven't reached a level that I've wanted to reach because I haven't cracked whatever the thing is. I don't know who my audience is yet. I'm still trying to find it. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to talk about, how I want to talk about it, how I want to use my talents as a comedian, as a performer, and make them come across as a comedian. Now, I think that's what people are really talking about when they were talking about Joe. Joe's a super talented guy. He's talented. He's a crusher. He can crush. You know what I mean? It's like, but that doesn't necessarily translate to like, it doesn't translate to like where you have this like moment in a special or like a,
I got you.
As a comedian, you know what I'm saying?
But that,
now, not to say that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying like,
it used to irritate me so much when people said that about, a guy I love so much. And I heard a lot, and I would take it in offense. And it feels so good to see him be so successful now. And I look at those people that said that, and I still know who they are. And I'm like,
no, but they can I tell you something? They're still going to say that. And you know what they're going to say? They're going to be like, yeah, that's because, people are dumb. And that's the kind of stuff that, that's that popcorn stuff that people like. He's never going to win in that way.
Do you think comics are still like that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
What's so interesting to me is...
It's like a YouTuber, man. That is the version of, in their minds, that's a version of a YouTuber selling out the club because of whatever that is. That's what they think about people that are like big characters and sing and do things. They don't think of it. They think everybody should be like Chappelle or Bill Burr or like, and it's like comedy just doesn't work like that. There's so many different types of ways. Those guys are just particular to what they do. Joe does what he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just doesn't fall in line with what the people who probably aren't even really making it, how they do it.
Well, that's what's interesting to me. The people that aren't really making it are the ones with the loudest voices.
And why are you listening?
Oh, I'm not. Well, I mean, I was.
It does get to you. It bothers you.
No, not me.
I'm saying it bothers you that like when you hear like
it bothers me more. Like to be honest with you, I've never heard anyone say anything about me personally.
Oh, really?
Never. Oh, really? Like nobody's ever.
We'll be
said,
right back. Okay.
No,
come on out. It's like 7 comments come in. You ain't shit, yo.
They just start roasting me like down the line. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like I've never had anyone come up and say, I don't like this, this, and this about you. And I've never had somebody that's heard something come up to me and say, I've heard this, this, and this about you.
Because most people are cowards. That's why.
So, and it's not about the material or anything. It's just I've never heard that. I've never heard somebody go after me. Where people I know, they go after all the time. Well, back then they go out. But I'm not around a lot of people.
Right.
So that's another reason I don't.
That's what we talk about. Your ass ain't never around.
He's taking advantage of the system. He skipped a step. He doesn't hang out. This dude.
No, but what I'm saying is like what you've done, people are catching up to it. So now that the worlds are colliding, and people are going to look back in retrospect and be like, oh man, I wish I would have done that.
But you know, one thing, the negative is when I'm only 3-4 years in selling out shows, I wish I was a lot better because now, like, I'm confident to do any club and I know it's going to be a great set. Back then, it was me developing. Mm-hmm. So you get all, like, I remember, and not to name drop, but I used to interview Kevin Hart a lot. And Kevin Hart said, you got to get out your first special. Because people don't know you're a comic yet. Right. And they go.
You still won't know. By the way,
yeah,
I have 2 out. People don't know I'm a comic, so that don't mean anything anymore either. He came at a different time, man.
Yeah,
he was right before, like you know what I mean. So good for him, but it doesn't always work like that.
Where Comedy Central, when you had a special on there, it meant a lot more back then, and even an HBO special back then was like everything. Now Netflix has such a lock on the game. I get stopped all the time from people watching my special that's on Amazon Prime, but go, man, I loved your special and on Netflix.
Yeah.
And they tell you about the special, so you know they watched it.
Yeah, but they don't know.
They don't know.
It's like Kleenex. It's like a name brand. Like Kleenex,
yeah.
It's not a thing. It's like, it's a tissue. Kleenex is a brand. People say this to me all the time too, man. They go, and then even like I'm dying up here, people will say like, people bring me out on stage sometimes. Like I was in Vegas and the host was going, and that HBO show, you know, and I'm like, dude, it wasn't on HBO. It was on Showtime. So people can't even find you. So I totally get it. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think about being like mixed? Do you have a crowd because of that?
I'm starting.
Or do you feel like you don't have a crowd?
Well, I'm starting to get a huge mixed like crowd coming to the show. It just took a while. You know, my material, literally my material is like my life. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not a observant comedian as far as like I like I tell people, I can't write comedy for anybody else except myself.
Oh, right.
You know, I'm not a writer. I'm not a comedian. Just myself. I can write my story, and that's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I'm that dude. I can tell my stories great. Like Joe is my only example because me and him rolled together. But like, I was talking about my family experiences out the gate when Joe said it took him 10 years to get to that point.
Yeah.
So I'm worse on telling general jokes about what other people experience than, you know, like I haven't mastered that. But family stories, I'm in it. Like I know I can tell a family story, you know, pretty well to me. You know what I mean? And the people that like me, that since my dad is black, my mom's Asian, those people are coming out. Any type of mixed people are coming out now. So that's starting to catch on. And then people that just like to hear family comedy. And when I say family comedy, I don't mean it's clean like Jim Gaffigan. I mean, it's about my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I do see, after my special came out, I did see, like it did what I wanted to do. And it still grows. It got me a sitcom deal with Fox. You know, it opened the door for a lot of things because people saw me in a different light. Because it used to be, oh, you host this show, and this. Oh, and you do comedy.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, you do comedy and you can host. So that's the difference in the room. So I feel it's starting to turn over, but it wasn't a huge success like a Ali Wong where it just popped. You know, like that's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to happen to everybody.
It's not.
You know, so you got to keep grinding. So now in the next year, I want to shoot my next special. You know, so that's the thing. I want to put one out every 2.5, 3 years.
I always appreciate people that like they have like I always like those blue collar guys.
Yeah,
like they know their audience. This is their audience, and their audience comes out. What's his name? Not Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart is so universal.
Yeah, he's universal now. Yeah.
But what? Oh my God! Why am I forgetting that this guy's who was the comment that he had a problem with Tiffany Haddish? You know, he was on the radio talking smack.
Oh, was that that was Epps?
No, not Mike Epps. Why am I forgetting this motherfucker's name? Like I feel like
Cat Williams.
Why did I forget his name? That's
Cat
so
Williams.
crazy.
Yes.
But Cat reminded me of the blue collar guys in the sense of like that he had an audience that like wanted to hear what he had to say and like everything that he talks about and like you know what I mean? Like it is like and that's a great thing, you know?
But do you think he has of course he has his own audience. He sells that everywhere. But is that a time thing or is that a thing where...
I don't know, man. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it. You know, I wish if there was a formula, then more people would be doing it. I just think that it's like once you get that special thing that like, and that's why they called it specials, but which they shouldn't be called anymore. It's just content now.
Yeah.
But like once you find that whatever that is that really resonates with people, and then that
becomes what it is.
That becomes yeah. So like he just had that thing, you know. It's like some people have it, and it also coming from different eras and different times, you know. It's like Joe's got a thing. Like Joe gets a lot of Filipinos to come to the show.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have nothing like that. I'm from LA. I'm mixed race. People don't even know what I am.
What are you?
Exactly.
I wanted to know.
Yeah, people don't know, and it's like that's a thing.
So you're not going to tell me?
No, I never. I don't think it's important, you know, to talk about. I know it's weird. I know, but maybe that's why people don't come. But I don't. You know?
So you wouldn't even tell me what you are?
No, I'm just mixed. You know what I mean? I'm mixed. You know what I mean? I have Caribbean roots. You know what I'm saying? You know, like Belize, Jamaica, Central America. I've never met my dad before, so this is the reason why I don't talk about it.
Gotcha.
Because it's like I don't know, and I don't want to go do 23andMe, and it's like you know, sometimes I just don't want to know. I identify with this, and I'll just go with that. You know what I mean?
So are you at the point where you can talk about your dad on stage?
No, because there's nothing to talk about.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I've never met, maybe I'll talk about that. I don't know. I just never have gotten to those kinds of things yet. So it's like, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what is the thing that's going to make people, and this is what I'm saying is like, to bring it back to what you were talking about with Joe Coy, just being funny, it's not enough.
Not today.
No, it's not enough. But by the way, you can still have an audience. I always respect these people that they like Iliza Schlesinger or somebody Iliza like that chick. Girls are always like, hey, girls ask about two things. They ask about Chris D'Elia, you know, and they ask about Iliza.
No, absolutely.
You know, you do comedy. Oh, do you know Chris D'Elia? Do you know Iliza? You know, they love her, right? Maybe it's not my cup of tea, you know, when I watch, because she's not speaking to me. You know, I can respect like the craft. Like I'll go like, you know, sometimes she puts together some really like, I go, oh, I love that. I love how she put that together, you know, but she's speaking to her crowd.
But let me tell you,
they love it.
I've seen her at the Comedy Store I've never seen her not crush.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
she's got
destroy.
like so what I'm saying is like, there are still a faction of people who would be like, that's not my type of comedy.
Oh, I've heard.
I don't respect that comedy. Whatever people might say.
I've heard so much hate about her too.
Right.
And it's about it's interesting. But even D'Elia, you hear hate on D'Elia. But
yeah, back when he first started out back in the day, that was he did. Yeah, there was a lot of like, you know, infighting amongst people, like whatever they would say. But now they don't say shit.
Hey, you know what changes it? Success. Success makes people go, oh yeah, it's funny how, you know, you're a good comic, but if something pops, you're a great comic.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like I compare it to, because I used to produce a couple of reality shows back in the day. And it was funny, like if you produce, like Sally, she did Jersey Shore and all these shows, close friends with her. She did Jersey Shore at Pop. Now, she's the biggest thing in TV. You know, nothing's changed about her besides a hit TV show.
Yeah, it's weird.
All her other shows were just as good, just nobody watched them.
Yeah, man.
But you get that one pop. Now in Hollywood, how it works is like, oh, now you get the blessing. You can move forward. You know, but you're the same person. Like I performed with Ali Wong 2 weeks before her special came out. There were like 100 people in the club. Her special came out, 5,000 people are in seats. Nothing's changed about Ali Wong in those 2 weeks. It's just now it's the exposure. Yeah. You know,
she just did like 9 shows at the Wiltern or something.
I think it was 16. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's amazing. But back then, 2 weeks, she wasn't a different person.
But I also understand how someone like that now would be like, well, you know, if she comes to because it's funny how sometimes she comes to the Comedy Store and the people that come to the Comedy Store aren't necessarily Ali Wong fans.
Yeah, no.
And she doesn't promote herself, you know, which is
just shows up,
just weird. So she comes out, she has a different name on the lineup. I don't know if I like that. But anyway, she comes.
A different name on the lineup.
Yeah. She doesn't have Ali Wong on the lineup. It'll say like some weird different name. But, you know, so what I'm saying is like, so then sometimes she'll be like, you know, she'll Ali Wong. And then the crowd is like, oh, okay, let's just see what this is. You know, so it's like a weird thing when you're like, you know what I mean?
That big.
Yeah.
But I think she probably wants that.
Maybe
but
not.
How can you grow when people, like, we've seen it. Like, I've gone after Jerry Seinfeld like 3 times. Like, literally, before he even says a word, it's a standing ovation because he's earned it. And how do you've heard comics talk about, how do you know they even like the material?
You know what? With comedy, you do know. With comedy, you get 2 minutes.
Okay.
With comedy, you get 2 minutes of, oh my God, it's you. Wow. Can you believe this? I can't believe it. And then it's like, I thought this guy was funny.
But yeah, sure. I've seen that happen before. But don't you think instead of going through that 2 minutes, rather just show up, pop in, and then
hey, you know what is what it is. You know, the comedy store, that's what's so great about the Comedy Store, that does not matter. Like at the Comedy Store, Chris Rock pops in to work on his set.
Yeah.
You know, all these guys are coming in to work on their set, even if they're getting like but the people know, like, okay, this is gonna be good.
This is gonna be good. Now let's settle in.
Let's settle in and see what's going to happen right now. So there's still you can still learn, you can still appreciate the process.
Do you
know what I mean?
What do you bomb still?
Oh yeah.
I've had but do you enjoy that? Like sitting in the pocket.
I actually don't think about it anymore. I have a point of emphasis when I go on stage. So if I'm going on stage and I'm like, oh, I want to work on this one bit, all I care about is that one bit, how I'm crafting it, and everything else is like just gravy.
When did you? Because to me, you know, like when I perform in Hollywood's the only place. To me, I always want to like crush, but at the same time, because you never know who's there. But I love the comics like you that you just said that. I spoke to some other ones where you could just let it go. I don't care who's there. I'm gonna be me. Like I was talking to Sarah Silverman. Of course, she's prominent. People know
right at this point, yeah.
But like she literally takes out a piece of paper and tries stuff in front of a sold out crowd.
Yeah, see, but at that point, like they're there already. Like for me, like I don't know if I'm in a weird spot because I'm not there. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of those people. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, that's why I do feel pressure, and more so now too, especially at the Comedy Store, because it's such a heavy hitter place now. It's not a workout room anymore. It definitely is like a show. You know, like you go in there, you got like, especially where I'm at in the lineup, I'm not going up early or late. I'm going. It'll be like you know, Chris D'Elia, Joe Rogan, me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, fuck, okay, I gotta come bring it.
Do you still get nervous?
No.
Okay.
No. You know what makes you nervous is like who's in the crowd. You know, like if I was at a redneck bar in Iowa because I'm shooting a movie or something like that, and I was like, let me go do some time. But if somebody walked up to me and said, hey, I think Spielberg's in the crowd and he's looking for oh shit, okay, whoo, all right,
okay.
It's in terms of what's at stake. You know what I mean? Like what's at stake, which is probably why sometimes people like don't do as well on their specials. You know, like I feel like that special I just put out, American Warrior, on Showtime. But anyway,
Showtime.
But I feel like that set could have been a lot better. I feel like I'm happy with it, but I'm saying I if I had to do it all again, I would do it differently.
Did you feel like you were rushed into it?
Oh, I was very rushed. You know, but I love the work that I put in to get ready.
Yeah.
That was the kind of work I was like, damn, I need to do this kind of work all the time with my stand-up, you know? Because I had to do sets in town because I was shooting a show at the same time. So I was like doing an hour at Brea, an hour at Irvine, an hour at Oxnard, I was doing all these like sets like in the Belly Room, at the Ha-Ha, at the, you know what I mean? Just like to prepare. I couldn't go out of town.
Yeah, I love, like, I'm hearing a couple stories of comedians that put out specials and now they're like, I wish I would have taken my time, but also, the thing is, when you get an opportunity, you can't say no because that opportunity may not come back around.
Well, at this point now, but again, we're still in this mode of like, we're thinking specials are special, and they're just not.
It's content.
They're not special. They're just content. That's our YouTube videos. That's our big, that's our big like, hey, this is my new thing I'm putting out, and then next year I'll put out another one and another one.
So do you think that applies to all comics? Like specials are gone. They're just content.
They're not special anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, and it depends on how it's being put out. Like, Chappelle just, put out he put out 5 specials in 2 years.
Yeah.
What's special about that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not special. And then because he's so large and so big and such a dynamic personality, now he's cornered the market on stand-up. Whereas like, if he doesn't do it, or if he does it, he's the only one that can do it.
Yeah.
It's like he'll say something on a thing and it's like, oh, only Chappelle can talk about Michael Jackson. Like only Chappelle can talk about like transgender people. You know what I mean? That's like his Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like Jim Gaffigan did the Hot Pocket thing and like everybody was like, you can't talk about Hot Pocket. But to his credit, you couldn't. Because it was like just the way you know what I mean? So now it's like heavy hitting issues in stand up, they're now looked at as like, well, that's Chappelle's domain.
See,
you know what I mean?
Or Chris Rock.
Yeah, but Chris Rock only comes. He does specials because they only come out every 5 years.
So you're talking about
like
there are specials, but right now the rate you're getting them from certain comedians that makes them not special.
Yeah, they're not. It's just content. So it's like it's great. Like, it's like, here's this person that you like really admire. Like, like Chappelle's like so dynamic. And you go, I get another one?
Yeah. And you get excited. Like,
yeah, you're like, another one. And then
at midnight, I was like, okay, let's go.
Let's go. See what he has to say. And then now that's the thing now. And good for Netflix being like, we don't care what blowback we get. We don't care what happens. Let's put this content out. You know what I mean?
Well, what's great, Netflix, $20 million or this Eddie Murphy, $70 million. Like, people don't realize, like, they think it's a lot of money, and which it is. But for Netflix, they do sometimes series that cost $250 to $300 million that bomb. Nobody watches.
Bomb.
So at least they know by paying a tenth of what these big produced TV shows, 20 million, people are going to watch it. So actually, it's smarter for Netflix.
I know, and the thing about it is there's also less pressure for some. This is why it's a great situation because he's like a giant in comedy, right? He's already got the money.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Like no, I'm saying they paid him for, like, he said, here's my special, I delivered it. Thanks for the money. Then they put it up whenever they want.
Yeah.
But for him, it's like, okay, I'm
done.
All you people that are like cancel him and all this kind of stuff, he's like, fuck you, I don't care. I've been paid already.
Don't even get me started on that whole cancel culture. It's so ridiculous, this whole cancel culture. It's like, here's the problem, and I understand because I interview a lot of people in Hollywood and outside of Hollywood, and the hypocrisy is so big. Yeah. And I'm gonna put
what do you mean by that?
So there's this girl I know named Nicole Arbor. And she came out with a video. I've only known her for probably like a month and a half. But, I know she has a history of being very controversial. She put out a video about fat people, shaming them. She was on the View, and they kind of went after her. But I invited her to a comedy club, because we're friends. And then a comic took issue.
Oh, I remember this.
Oh, were you there that night?
No, I wasn't there that night, but I know what you're talking about. So it was that fat girl that was on that one show. Right? Wasn't that?
This happened like 5 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this girl makes a video about that, I guess.
Yes.
So that's her, the girl. So, and she's known, and I don't even know if this is true, but she's known as a Republican, and she voted for Trump, whatever. So I'm standing there. I bring her to a comedy club. She's watching the set, and I was introducing her to people, and then one comic got so mad. I'm not going to say who it is. Got so mad and go, do you know this person? They support Trump, and they made a video about fat people. And I go, but she thinks she's a comedian. Like this Nicole girl, she's like, I'm a comedian. This was fun content. So in my mind, I go, do you know how many comics we know that say awful shit on stage?
Yeah.
Like for instance, this is the hypocrisy. She makes these videos and things, and she's big. Nicole is huge on the internet. But this person's hating on this girl for being a comedian, doing it through the internet, when you have, and I love him, but like an Anthony Jeselnik that says crazy shit. Like crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, which is funny. I love his stand-up, but I know you're good friends with that person and you have no problem with his content, but you have problem with this girl just called people fat. Anthony talks about killing babies, having all types of
for
shit.
some they think that that's more existential. The problem is the fat is fat. Like if you call somebody fat, it's because they're fat.
But I don't think she was just talking about fat people in general.
No, I know, I get it. I'm a fat guy and I talk about fat people.
Yeah. So my thing is, like, how can
it is hypocrisy? It's fucking straight up hypocrisy.
Like when you have an Anthony Jeselnik talking about terrible, awful things and then saying awful things on tweets, which I love his comedy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going after him because I think it's funny. Mm-hmm. I think he's funny. But how can you say you justify one because they're a big comedian and they sell out shows?
But here's the thing, though, they're not justifying anymore. Right now, it's like, look, this is what I'm saying. The type of like left wing, critical shit that Chappelle went through with his special that's cancel culture right there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about all these big publications talking about don't watch it, all these kind of things. And over 100,000 people gave it 99% on Rotten Tomato. You just go like, it's proof that it's actually proof that cancel culture isn't a real thing. It's just proof
but it
that
can get shit. Tell the people that got fired from it.
I know, but what we're starting to find out is like the actual people are not. They're not the ones that are upset.
It's not many. It's not many, but the many. It's not many, but the not so many are very powerful. Not against the Dave Chappelle, because Dave Chappelle has nothing to lose. But like I've talked about this before, like me and maybe you.
Yeah,
like
of
I
course.
can't say that kind of shit because I'm still trying to come up. Like so that can hurt you.
Yeah. Well, again, look what it did. Look at the guy. Look at Shane Gillis for SNL.
Okay.
So he's on this podcast. I think this is I'm thinking, is this a safe space? Can we talk about stuff on our podcast?
Nothing's safe.
And after that, I realized, oh no,
nothing's safe.
I do have to be measured and thoughtful about what I say right now, because somebody might look back and be like, well, you said this. And then here you go. And now you're being judged by that one sentence is your whole character.
So, what was interesting on the Dave Chappelle special, he talked about a reporter coming to a show and talking about Jussie Smollett, right? My thing when reporters or people report what they see in a comedy club, if you're a writer and you would never turn in your first draft. That draft has been over and over. So literally when you see a comic in a comedy club, if it's not his special, that's a rough draft of what he's trying to get to. And nobody ever turns in a rough draft. So you're judging them on something that's not even developed.
Yeah,
they're just writing it.
Yeah, it's weird.
But writers who write a profession will attack these comics when they're just listening to a rough draft, but you would never turn in your first draft of you complaining about that comic. It goes to an editor, they edit it, then you get back, you make your tweaks.
Yeah.
It goes 4 or 5 different steps before it's published. So, but you're not giving the same credit to a comic that's working out stuff in a club, trying to get it to publish, which is our special.
Or even somebody like say on a podcast, or they're just having a discussion, or somebody thinks something's funny and it's a little off color, and then the next thing you know, like your whole character is being assassinated, like you're that person.
But that's true. But you got to remember too is that you're putting it out.
I know. That's what I said too about it.
And I
had somebody write. There was this one fucking troll idiot on my. I'm just letting him know the guy was a fuck.
You're a troll.
He's just a troll idiot. Is like writing on my comments about like you shouldn't be saying stuff about Shane. He's a comic too. You should be supporting him. Like because all I said on our podcast, I was just like. It wasn't my cup of tea what he said, I listened to it and I was like, this isn't my thing.
Okay, first of all, it wasn't your cup of tea. And to me, it wasn't funny. It was.
Yeah, but that doesn't, but what I'm saying is that doesn't matter because it doesn't matter because it's like in the context of a conversation of things that they're talking about, like it doesn't, the prerequisite for a podcast is not that it has to be funny.
No.
Like if you're just having a conversation, you say something off color, there are people out there that are going to be like, I agree with that guy or whatever their thing they're going to say. So like in retrospect, when I look back on it, it's like I could care less if it was funny or not. It's just like I'm thinking about it as a podcast creator now, as like what kind of content do I want to put out? And it's like, damn, like he made me go, ooh, maybe it's like even though this is my thing and it's my content, and look, it has an effect.
It does. What people got to realize is when you put stuff out like this, podcasts, and we're both doing our podcast, but if you get an SNL gig, I get an SNL gig, guess what? Trolls are going through all your stuff you put out to find something that you said.
And the particular guy that did it, he's a comic, and he's just the worst.
But it's a thing where you got to know, and it's terrible, but you got to know whatever you say on any TV show, on any podcast, no matter where you are, if you get that golden gig, if you get that press release where Erik Griffin got his own show on CBS, and guess what? Imagine
episode 4 of Riffin with Griffin.
Yeah, it's coming.
You said this.
It's coming. It's coming. So that's the thing.
But even Melissa Villaseñor, when she first got on SNL, she had something in a tweet that she had said, and they were trying to like. Yeah, I think but
some last, some doesn't. Like there's different things you can attack, and like he attacked Asians.
And
Asians right now have a lot. Like
I don't think it was about that.
What do you think it was about?
No, it wasn't about that. It was about him being a straight white male.
You think that's why they went off?
Oh yeah.
If it was an Asian saying the same thing, it wouldn't have mattered.
If it was a black dude saying that, they would have been like, "Oh, that was off color," but I don't think he would have got fired. I think right now it's like payback mode right now. It's like straight.
It's very unfortunate to be a white male.
Yeah, right. Well, no, it's not. It's just like I'm like sorry. You know what I mean? But it's weird what they're doing right now.
No, it's very weird because it's a thing where everybody came out and talked about all my friends that are Asian.
Was it a thing in the Asian community?
Oh no, it was. It was like that was the talk. It's almost like. how can this guy just say this and we not say something about it? Because
y'all haven't said nothing about it for years.
But now they can.
Yeah.
and that's where it comes to freedom of speech, like this whole freedom of speech thing. I love it when somebody gets in trouble for freedom of speech and they're trying to take away my freedom of speech. It's like, no you had your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Now you got to let the other...
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's so ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
People think like, oh, be
sorry,
careful. You got to move up a little bit, but you're good.
Sorry, I keep hitting your picture.
No, but it's like
Griffin's getting mad.
No, it's only because like if it turns, then people OCD people are gonna be like, that picture's off.
Is it
no,
still
it's good. It's good.
Okay,
it's good.
we good.
No, but here's the thing about
sorry, Willie Purdue.
Here's the thing about freedom of speech. Yes, I said this, and now it's okay for people to be like, I didn't like it. It's like, why do people think like it's so fucking stupid?
What's that lady on Fox, Laura Ingraham? Like she'll say some crazy shit, and then all her sponsors will drop her, and then she goes, "You're trying to take away my freedom of speech." It's no, the people you said about they have their freedom of speech to call advertisers and things.
What white privilege that sounds like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just like, I could say whatever I want, and you should still have to sponsor me. No, it don't work like that.
No.
It's like the sponsors go, okay, enough people don't... And that's the thing about the Shane Gillis thing. I think it just got to a point where it was like they were weighing it, okay? They were weighing it. And there was so much backlash, and they hired another white guy. They were just like, let's just...
And it was the first... Asian American
that they hired at the same time.
It's almost
like they did it on purpose.
They said it. They knew about the clip. SNL knew about the clip. They're like, we know about this clip.
I think it's an unfortunate time we're living in society right now that we're overly sensitive to that. And I'm not saying it's right at all. I know I have a lot of, like there's a lot of, I've had discussions. I was in this movie and I was talking to one of the lead actors. He's this like macho dude, Italian, you know what I mean? And he's just like going in about like, I can't get parts. He's like, like now I'm losing parts to women. I'm losing parts to boom, and in his mind too, he's like the parts I'm losing to, like, it's like a Navy SEAL, like, I should be the Navy SEAL, not the,
yeah.
It's just things like that. So they're all like, there's a lot of straight white males out there who are like, look, I've never been racist. I've never done anything bad to women. And why am I being lumped in with everybody? And I go, yo, you know what? I hear you. But you know what? You also weren't there to help me. Mm-hmm. You weren't on my side either. You were a lot of those type of people are on this kind of like hear no evil, see no evil, say no evil. But like you.
Well, no. I know exactly because
you know what I mean.
I married a white woman from Wyoming, right? So here's what's interesting is after we had our kid, like people got to understand if it's not around you or doesn't affect you, you don't care. Usually that's the way it works. And my wife has never gone through an ethnic battle, police brutality, my family, my wife's family is the Brady Bunch. It's literally the Brady Bunch.
Right.
So it's a very simple story. After we had our son, now my wife notices when black people get shot. My wife notices when black people get beat. My wife notices when ethnic people are done wrong in the justice system because she looks at her son and goes, oh, now this affects. Like I'm thinking, in her head, she goes, oh, this affects me now.
Right.
So if she had a white kid and was married to a white man, she would still not be paying attention to it.
I know, but this is what I'm saying. So like these guys, these like comics and actors who are like, I had Tony Hinchcliffe on, Tony's great. And he was all into it. He was like, look, man, the straight white males, like, there are no more movies for all this kind of stuff. And I go, okay. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, all right, this is cool, man. Sorry that you don't have your time anymore. Like you did, you know what I mean? It's like
everybody. Usually it goes through cycles.
I know, but it's like I always say, like I have to. Those guys that are saying to me that they didn't do anything wrong, you also didn't do much to help. And you know how I know this? Because I didn't do much for women.
Yeah.
So I know that, why would you do stuff for other ethnic groups when I know, like, we knew about casting couches and all these things that were going on and women don't get enough, opportunities. We've been around for this forever. All of a sudden we needed Me Too and Cosby and Harvey Weinstein. We needed all this to happen for us.
When you knew it was happening.
Yeah, but for us to start to go, oh, yeah, that is messed up. We weren't doing anything either. So it's like, I understand why white straight males haven't done shit to help the cause because it didn't affect them.
It didn't affect. If it doesn't affect you, you don't care. Like, just to put it in perspective, we have still soldiers dying overseas. But since it's not front and center on the news, People forget about it. And if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect you. And I'm learning that firsthand with my wife. Now, she's very small.
She want to march Black Power.
No, she's becoming very woke, like even more woke than me, because I
hope not.
not over it. But like, for instance, she'll just notice like when even something simple like we watched The Bachelor together because that's her thing. But they had a bachelor named Mike.
Like that's not your thing.
No,
you know you love it now.
I love it. I do love it. I do love it now.
I got busted.
I do love it. It's so fun.
Yeah. That's like me and Big Brother. I love Big Brother.
Yeah.
Go on.
So I'm watching this, and my wife is very upset because Big Mike was the black guy that was on the show, and he should be the Bachelor. 100% fan favorite. He should be the Bachelor. But I know television, and I've talked to people that work for that show. There's no way they're going to make a black man the Bachelor, because that means he has to make out with white chicks, and middle America needs to watch that. There's no way they would watch that.
Wow.
They had a commercial 4 years ago, I think it was Cheerios, where they had an interracial couple. The white woman was in the kitchen with her mixed son. The husband was in the living room, not even in the same room, the living room. And they got complaints. Yeah. And people went off about that. So it's just out there, and you got to understand. But if I'm ABC, I'm going, if I'm management, I go, okay. Well, I'm not being racist. I just understand our demographic.
Well, this is the thing, too, that gets me about like the woke culture and cancel. And it's all coastal. It's all coastal, liberal, urban cities who think that they have the pulse of America. And you obviously don't, because that's why Trump got elected. You know
what
I mean? That's why NCIS is still one of the biggest shows on TV.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like they don't know what's going on. They don't know what people think, what they're going through. They don't, these people on this coast and on Twitter, they think that they have the pulse of America. You don't.
Yeah, I feel like, and I grew up in Texas. So I feel like it's a type of thing where middle America is, they look at the left and they look at the left coast and right coast and they go, hypocrisy. Like, what kind of, you're hypocrites.
Nothing but hypocrisy.
You're hypocrites. I can show you 10 things you're complaining about our person, but I can show you 10 things your person did the exact same, but you're not looking at that. And I think that's the big problem is middle America to me is this audience right here. Hey, whatever you're doing, don't bother us about it. We're just going to keep doing our thing.
Yeah, we
don't get in our business because we know you don't really care about our business.
Really care. Yeah.
You're not here. You don't know. You can talk about, you can talk about this on the left. You can talk about this in New York, but you don't know what we're going through in the middle.
Yeah, they don't know what people are going through. They just don't.
They don't. Because you're not around it, so why talk about it? So when I lived in Texas, look, I was that dude. I voted Republican when I was in Texas. And I didn't know any different because that's the way you grow up, but now even my wife moved from Wyoming, which is very Republican.
Oh yeah.
Now she's like, oh, what this guy's saying, and I don't want to get political, but I don't agree with the thoughts that people are saying on a certain side. So I'm gonna go to the other side now.
Right.
So you learn that moving, or I think there's, especially in Houston, there's this big, where I'm from, it's a lot of blue coming into Houston because people are getting more educated about like, oh, you don't have to think a certain way. But like in middle America, it's just leave us alone. We just want to do our thing. Leave us alone.
Like some people in middle America are like, sorry, I don't know any black people. It's you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so like you're in middle America, some little town, it's like, 5,000 people, it's all white. You occasionally have a black person coming through, who knows, on the basketball team from the county across when the teams play, you're like, ooh, these, but like, it's like, it's hard for me to say to like people who have never, to have empathy when they have their own problems going on. It's just a tough thing. I
do think, I was talking to some people, and I feel like, in going to that white argument, I feel that a lot of times, like I was talking to one of my white friends, and he goes, you know what I hate? Every time I watch the news, it's us doing something. It's us. He's like, and he's a great guy. Yeah. And like you said, he's never supported, but it's kind of like, it's almost like a black person looking at TV going, every time somebody's getting arrested, it's black. Which is true, pretty much. But there are a lot of white people getting arrested too that you don't show. But now white
that's
men,
what I was talking about, Theo.
But white men are talking about, hey, why is it everybody blaming us, the white man, where there's black police officers beating down black people too.
Yeah.
Doing illegal shit.
Well, here's the thing. It was funny you say that because there was this white Republican conservative ex-cop who sent me an email after I was on Theo's podcast, and he was like, "Man, I want to come on your podcast because I wrote a book and I want to talk the other side, you know." And it's like I haven't gotten back to him, you know. I should actually, you know, because, and I'm like, my thing about it is like what he doesn't understand is like how great that is. See, like all this backlash right now about straight white males, they're getting it.
Oh yeah,
all right, but they also have the ability to be like, hey. What are you guys getting on us for? We're not all bad, and they're fighting for their rights. Not everybody got that privilege to do that. Because when they did, it was looked at as like oh, that's civil rights now, or like, you know, it always has to be on that side of it. You know what I mean?
It's the angry black man or woman.
Oh, yeah,
you get labeled that.
Whatever. Oh, here we go. You know what it is? But it's like they're able now. They're still taking advantage of white privilege.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? But even on the other side, it's so strange that like they don't. This guy in particular doesn't see it like that. It's like, yes, he's like, not all cops are bad. Like, of course, I don't think all cops are bad. You know, of course not. I know there's a lot. It's a tough job. It's an underpaid job. You know, people have to deal with so much in that profession. You know what I mean? I have a friend in my fantasy league that's a cop. You know what I mean? They have to deal with a lot of stuff.
You sound like the person that says, "I got a black friend."
Yeah, I know.
I got a cop.
I know. Exactly. So you can't win.
Yeah, but I feel that it's the news. The news is the biggest problem.
Oh,
the news is the biggest problem because they they want the race war. Because that sells and that gets people to watch. They want to find, like, they're not looking for the black on black crime, or they're not looking for the white on white crime. They're looking for the white guy arresting a black dude and beating him down. Because I guarantee you there's just as many videos of a white dude beating down a white dude or a black cop beating down a black cop. But they know what people will watch is a black guy beating on a white guy, or a white.
Watch Cops.
Yeah. So
it's all white. That's all white on white half the time.
That's right.
But they're videotaping, so you're not seeing the bad stuff. But it's all, you know what I mean.
But the news is selling that narrative.
Right, let's end on this. Talking about this, because I was just thinking about this last night. So I'm so glad you brought this up. You know, right now, because the 2020 election is coming up, right? And so what I don't understand is, like, if you turn on Fox News, you would think that every Democrat is crazy.
Yep.
And then you turn on CNN and you would think that every Republican is corrupt and you know, and there's no middle ground on any station,
because they found out middle ground doesn't rate.
Well,
because the audience,
that's frustrating.
Here's the thing, is the audience, once TV, cable news became about money and ratings, that's when it's like, okay, they saw Fox, CNN saw Fox and how successful they were. They were going, oh, we're just going to be the Fox of the other side. Now, I watch CNN more than Fox, but I like to watch both. I'm a person that
watch both.
You got to be educated on both sides, you know. But it's a thing once it became about ratings. So CNN took it way right. And here's the problem with the news is they will take the craziest person that is opposite them and give that person airtime. Like CNN will put the craziest right person they can find, where Donald Trump can do anything. Well, he's got a point, you know. And then Fox will take the craziest right person. They don't put people that have common sense that support the other party.
I would just like to see, like, about the impeachment, you know. I would love to see someone on Fox say that, like, maybe it's a good idea. And I'd like to see someone on CNN be like, well, I don't know if we should do this. Like, there's just none of that. It's like the party line is just
but the only time you'll hear on CNN, I don't think we should do this, is because you might lose the next. Like, that's always the tag. I don't know if they should do this because it could affect where my dad went through segregation. He marched. Right. He led marches and things like that. So it's interesting to me. I had a conversation with him, and he's the one that kind of slapped me in the right direction. I go, well, why should they impeach Trump? Because, or even try to, because they're not going to get it through the Republican, through the Senate.
Yeah.
And he goes, because it's right. Because he did a lot of wrong. And I go, I was thinking just like a politician. I was like, well, they could lose this, they could lose that. And my dad goes, no, forget about that. You need to do what's right and what's wrong. If you have this proof that it's wrong, you need to do the inquiry.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. I have a feel. This is the only times. This is the only politics we're gonna get into right now. Is this the reason why they want to impeach him? Because there's no way they're gonna win an election.
I disagree, but
That's what I think it is.
I think the only
not one of these motherfuckers are gonna beat Trump.
I think the only and I'm gonna end on this. The only way I think Trump loses is if he goes against Biden, because I feel like older white people love to vote for older white people.
Yeah, but that's him.
And when I say
older white guy,
no, but they want to get. I feel like
change is
coming. It's like dating. You'll date a crazy person, and then you're like, I need to date somebody normal. Because the last relationship was crazy. You hardly ever go to crazy. You're always like, okay, I'm looking for something.
I wish that were true, because I keep going. I just went back to crazy.
Well, that's your bad.
I didn't even say that. Yeah, I just recently got back with my ex.
Okay.
But I think because we've changed so much, we worked it out. We worked it out. She's
worked
great.
it out. She's great, but still crazy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but because it's like because if I broke up because I was like, I don't like all this, and this, and then I see a pattern of all the women that I've dated. I'm like, well, apparently they're all got something going on.
But if you look at the history of presidents, it's kind of like you have one that goes like people at the time, like Bush was crazy. I mean, if you look at today, it's not. But back then, crazy. So they brought it back. And you do the dance.
They always
crazy.
swing. Yeah,
they always swing. So I feel like no matter what the Republicans do, they're not going to win, because I think it's all about independence. And do you know who put Trump into the White House? Was the college-educated women. That's the biggest demographic that the Democrats lost.
Women, too.
White women. White educated women put Trump into the White House. It's a fact. You can look it up. So I just think those white educated women going, oh, what'd we do?
We'll see.
I think if it's anybody besides Biden, they will lose, because in America, that middle America part, the one they're like, hey, you left, you West Coasters and East Coasters, leave us alone. We're used to vote. And I'm talking, when I say older white people, I mean like 60, 65. We're used to voting for white people that are older. Don't bother us. We're going to keep doing it. And I feel like that's the Joe Biden.
We'll see, man. But I just really feel like they're pushing this. I think they're really pushing this impeachment, because it's like, well, this is going to be our this. We have a better chance.
But they're not going to get.
If you're betting, would you bet on what's the odds on getting Trump out of office? Impeachment or election?
No, it's the election.
Is it 50-50?
No, it's not even close with impeachment. It's not going to happen.
I know.
Well, they don't have the Senate.
Yeah.
So they're going to lose that fight, but they're doing
people out there that might finally be.
They're not going to get enough Republicans to go against the president. I mean, that's the honest fact. Like, they're not going to get the impeachment. So what you're saying is kind of wrong. They have to rely on the election.
I know. No, what I'm saying is, I know they should rely on the election, but I'm saying to you is, I think that they know that they don't have a great shot.
But he's not going to get impeached.
Oh, I know, but they still got to go for it.
Yeah,
and they have the moral high ground to like.
Well, and that was what my dad said. He's like, forget it, all the political moves.
Right.
You got to do it because it's wrong.
We'll see. It's gonna be a.
This was not a funny podcast today. I apologize. We got so serious in the thing, but that's great.
I just was talking about this on this other thing. It just doesn't matter. That's not why people watch.
Yeah,
they don't. They just watch for whatever, an authentic conversation.
Yeah,
that's all they really care about. So don't worry. I stopped worrying about that so long ago. This ain't stand up, man. It's a whole different platform, and it's like they just want, like, we obviously are good with each other, so that's all they really care about.
Did you feel about it? Did you feel a lot of pressure because on Rogan when you first I got to be funny the whole time?
No, I never even thought about it.
Really?
No, I never.
I mean, we talked about that.
Yeah, I never even thought about it. I just was like, I just went on and we just had a conversation. It was just like, I just be myself. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, that's what you told me. But I was still kind of.
I get it.
But like 3 hours later, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah,
like,
we still talking.
We still talking. I'm jealous of your hair too. I need some hair like Erik Griffin. How do you got such good hair like that?
Ain't that something? You know what it is? I've been taking vitamin D with K12. I've been taking my supplements and vitamins. I've been working out more. I've been watching. I'm trying to get. Because of my mom's condition, I started thinking to myself, you know what? I don't want to be like this. I need to. I'm taking turmeric. You know what I mean?
I do all that too.
And the vitamin D, I know it's directly related to like this lovely mane.
It's nice.
I'm gonna keep going till I can do a ponytail.
Well, maybe that'll be your thing. Ali Wong came out with the belly and she blew up.
I know.
Now you can be the redneck mix guy.
Ponytail something. You know what I mean? People like, did you see Ponytail Special by Erik Griffin?
That Ponytail Special was amazing. He crushed it.
Maybe that'll be the thing that pops. I don't know.
Is that we're always on a quest to find out. It's so crazy that we talk about it all the time, and it's such a stupid conversation. It's like, what is that one thing to make you pop? You just never know.
No, but it's not even just that. It's just funny how everybody wants to do what everybody else is doing. That's the thing.
Well,
too.
You brought up Andrew Schultz, and I about he showed us a different way, and comics are telling me that all the time. I go, but that's just him. Name another one that has done that.
Oh no, there's
what I mean?
No, I'm saying there's a lot of people out there that they're putting
100%
comedy on the internet and all this. No, he's.
But it makes it special because it's his, and usually when you're the first to do at that big capacity, he's like fuck y'all, I'm doing it my own. But
it's only because they said fuck you. That's why.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's not like
and he's crushing.
It's not like it'd be different too if everybody was like, all these networks were like, we want to put your special on.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
No, it was forced to do it himself.
He just did it well. He teamed up with the right. And that's the thing. It's kind of like
there's no right or wrong way, Mike.
It's not.
All right. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's no right or wrong way.
I'm not saying it is. I just want to be accepted.
But
I don't really care.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what's so weird. It's I want to be
okay, yo. You don't care.
I want to be accepted, but I don't really care. That's what's so weird, man. It's so weird.
Let it be. Let it be. Now listen, man. You're doing fine. You know what I mean. Just keep the hope alive. Just keep doing what you
Barack.
do. I'm just telling you.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like you're on my podcast.
I made
like
it.
You. You know what I mean?
made it.
That doesn't say you did Rogan. People like you. So it's just like, what I realize is like haters are always going to hate. And that we can use that as fuel, or we can like let it fester and we never move forward from it.
Do you use it as fuel?
Oh yeah, I use.
See me, I don't even think about it. I don't use that as fuel.
I love having enemies. I like.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I lead that. I love to like prove people wrong and that kind of stuff.
See, I've never been into that. I just do me.
Yeah. Oh God. Ugh.
I just do me. Hashtag. No, I just
Reverend Yo over here.
But like I said, nobody ever like. I gotta hang out in comedy clubs more so I can hear hate. Like I just never I don't know why. It's just like no. So you're saying people will, and I know we got to end this, but when you hear negative stuff about yourself, comics will say that in your face.
Yeah. No. I get a lot of secondhand stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've heard things about people that I love. I want to talk to them about it. I mean, you're not gonna like. Here's the thing, though. I don't care in a sense of like if somebody like at the Comedy Store. Not everyone at the Comedy Store, even in the heart of the main lineup, thinks that each other is funny. Okay, that's just
wait.
There's people in the heart of the lineup that might think that another person in the lineup, they might not think that person's funny, or they don't,
or it's not their style of comedy.
Exactly. So you're always going to have that. Yeah. The Comedy Store is really like that. It's like the high school cafeteria, man. You know what I mean? So there's like, there's the cool kids, the podcasters, you know what I mean? Oh, the famous people, the people in movies and TV. It's very much like high school. It's like Mean Girls.
Let me be honest. When I'm at the Comedy Store, the heavy hitters, the big people like you and the Sebastians and the Bill Burr, when they perform, they don't watch other. Like I never seen a big comedian watch other comedians. It's more of people coming up.
Only if they are like right after.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
So I can't imagine those people talking shit. I normally see the people that are trying to come up.
But here's the thing is they do watch the people that they want to watch. I've seen it. They'll watch people. They'll talk about them. Rogan talks about his favorite comics on his podcast all the time.
Yeah.
This guy's funny. He's a kingmaker. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
You know what I mean?
If he thrones you, man.
Yeah.
So
it's there. It happens.
Joe Rogan is... Chelsea used to be it when she had her show. I tell everybody Chelsea was the American Idol.
I never was on that show, and every time I see what was his name, Michael Cox. You know what I mean? So like he had me on another show later.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh man, I was like, yeah, you never had me on Chelsea. He's like, I'm sorry. I said, you cost me $1 million. You
probably did.
That. You know what I mean? Said, you cost me money, man.
Because
it is what it is.
Because she was like the American Idol of comedian. You could have no career, be on her show, sell out. And I feel like Rogan is that person for comics and for workout people and for UFC. Like he's the king. Like he said, you on his podcast, it's a game changer.
Anointed. Man. You know
just
what I mean?
like this one.
Oh, we're getting there.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, man. Listen, I'm glad you came on.
Thanks,
I really
man.
appreciate you. I'm gonna come do yours.
Yes.
And I feel what you're going through. I know
man.
it. I know you're. Listen, the thing is, you're a positive guy, and it's equivalent to being a bitter guy. Okay. this same energy comes out. See, people think that positive people think that, hey, I'm just going to be positive. And you know what? I love everybody. No, you don't. It's transparent.
No, I do.
Yeah, see?
No, I do. I honestly, I
Motherfucker.
don't dislike anyone.
It's not about dislike. What I'm saying is the feelings that you still might have towards like the people that talk shit or like,
yeah.
It's all the same coming from an angry side or coming from a friendly side. It still meets in the same place.
It's still frustrating.
It's still frustrating. So what I'm trying to say is like, we're both still trying to overcome those things. But that's part of what like drives us to be better comedians and better actors, better people.
Yeah. 100%.
You know what I mean? All right, guys. I'm going to have all of Mike's information down below. Make sure you check that out. He's got a great podcast. You can find him on a bunch of things, actually. You still on the radio show, too, right?
I got a couple radio shows, podcasts, and then my special, you can still watch it on Amazon Prime.
And the specials on Amazon Prime. What's the name of it?
Blasian.
Make sure you check out Blasian on Amazon Prime, and all the other information will be down below. Make sure you guys subscribe, share, send, put your comments, even you trolls. You know me, I see them, so don't worry.
Do you write back to the trolls?
Oh, my favorite thing.
That's wasted. That's
no,
energy.
Fuck you.
That's so like a troll's a troll's gonna read something and go, "Oh, you make a good point."
No, that's not about. No, I'm not trying to make a good point. No, you think I'm trying to? They're not. Wait. They're not trying to make a good point. Why should I try to make a good point?
It's true, but
I write back, hey, get the fuck off my page and never come back.
See, that's wasted energy. Don't you?
Let me waste my energy.
I'm just saying, you're wasting energy, Erik Griffin.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes. Not all the time. I don't do it all the time.
I don't read comments. I don't read comments.
I know I shouldn't, but when I'm checking things, a comment pops up and I'm like, why would you say that? You know what?
You probably have notifications on.
By the time
you are a dude with notifications on, so you know when.
No, I had to turn the notifications off because of that. But I actually hit up Rogan about this. I said, dude, when did you stop looking at comments? He was like, a long time ago. And he was like, and I don't even look at the positive ones. He said the positive ones can be just as detrimental to your psyche.
Absolutely.
So I was like, okay. So I'm not as bad as I was, but occasionally there'll be a comment that I'm like, if somebody's rude to the guest, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Somebody says something like, it's okay to say like, I don't think that guy's funny, but to say some disparaging shit that I'm like, nah, you got to get off my page. Block user.
You block. Okay,
yeah.
see,
you gone.
See,
here's
what's interesting.
You gone.
We talk about the comments, but you could take the comments off of everything if you really didn't want the comments. That's my thing. I always say, like these people that complain about their comments,
turn them off.
You can turn them off, but you want because you want the reinforcement of, oh, you look beautiful, you look like this.
Yeah, I know.
So you got to deal with the negative. That's our egos.
And that's why I look at both. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
I love it. I leave my comments on.
Yeah, you got to leave when the comments, because all these discussions happen. That stuff's fun to look at sometimes. How a thing will break out.
Oh, yeah, and then people start fighting with each other.
Yeah, they start fighting with each other. I love looking at that. That's the fun. Yeah. You know what I mean?
People ain't got nothing to do.
They got nothing to do.
Nothing to do except comment and fight with each other online.
Well, listen, guys, thanks for listening to mixedrace.com.
You know what I am. I'm black and Asian, but we still don't know.
The Mixed Race Podcast.
There it is.
I got enough black in me. It's Caribbean, black.
We should start a podcast, call it Mixed Up.
Mixed Up. There it is. We should.
We're Mixed Up.
Why not? Mixed Up with Mike and Erik. Look out for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mixed Up.
You know what? I'm just gonna have you on again. Then we'll keep doing it. If people like it, then we'll know we can do it.
We weren't
after I do yours.
I don't think they're gonna think this one's good.
What are you talking about?
We talk.
This guy really thinks it's about guys.
This guy really thinks
it's about being funny, and it's just not.
I'm telling you, it is.
It really isn't.
It is. Maybe your audience is different, but
it's all. You think people are laughing at Rogan's podcast half the time? Funny things happen, but it
needs to be organic.
Yes, it's just organic, man. See, you know what it is? You're still in host mode.
No, hosting. We're not funny.
No, but you have to be. But there's like
I'm always presenting because I want it to be funny. But this was a very real conversation.
You never have real conversations on your podcast?
Of course, but I'm interviewing people, so that's different.
Yeah,
as a guest, I want to give more.
Oh my god!
I want to give you more, Erik.
You're so worried about this is your problem.
I worry.
Yeah, this is your problem right here. See?
I want to be accepted, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You've been trying to end this podcast for 20 minutes.
That's gonna be the name. That's gonna be the title of Mike's new book.
I want to be that'd be a great
accepted, but I don't care.
That'd be a great name for a podcast too.
Yeah, I want to be accepted, but I don't care. And then we just get everybody's stories
about acceptance.
You know what? We're gonna talk about this off.
Yeah.
You guys have been great. Thanks for watching Riffin with Griffin. I'll see you next week. Later. Boom.